Welcome to another episode of Real Talk and Healthy Food. So I'm glad you came back. What's up? What's up? What's up? I hope you like my braids. I'm not done. I'm gonna curl them up. I just got done braiding, but I'm gonna curl these bitches up and I'll be ready to roll and get through the rest of the week. Today we're gonna address Lonnie Love real quick and what she said on today's episode regarding black men being incapable of having faithful monogamous relationships. So that's what I'm going to address here today. So let's go to the clip of her, which is used for educational purposes under the Copyright Act and all that jazz. 1 second.
I want to, I don't speak for the black community, but I do think that a lot of
You
black
did today.
men, they really don't know how to have true, faithful relationships. They think because they have money, because they have power, that they can treat women any kind of way.
I see that more with white men.
And that is something we need to work on. We need to work on that. That money and power does not mean that you can just do whatever
I think
you want
that
to do.
in so many cultures, that is the whole machismo thing. Like that goes across the board. But I'm gonna say
it's not across the board because what is happening is that we are still dealing with the point of slavery, and we are
This is the wrong
descendants of
context.
slavery.
Oh,
And
can't wait till
because
she's
our
done.
families were broken up, we still do not have an idea of how to have together the families, because our families were broken up.
Yes,
and until we really
from that perspective, I absolutely,
Not just slavery, welfare reform in the 60s and stuff. Like this is a long.
So when you hear because I want to say,
what's up, these
hear
bitches?
Joe Budden say, he worked so hard. It's not a bad thing. He's saying, Kevin don't want to be poor no more. Okay, so he's like, let me go out here and make this money because I don't want to go back to where I was in Philly. So what he was saying was he was using it as an excuse, and we modernize it and say, but that's not But you got to understand the whole psychology behind it. That's the reason why he's working so hard, because he don't want to go back to where he came from, because then he'll lose the power.
And working so hard is affecting his relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it is a
conundrum.
Correct.
Okay, check 1 2, Lonnie Love, bitch. You're using your examples, and the narrative is wrong. You cannot use welfare reform and the federal housing associate the federal housing act and those types of situations to use it to spin it as your own personal narrative. And I don't know if it's because now that you're dating a white man that you are suddenly feeling like all black men are incapable of a faithful and monogamous relationship. You are very incorrect. Um, First of all, I could start with my immediate family. Now, I know a lot of black families, we are dealing with generational and systematic issues, generational issues that have been passed through our bloodlines, spiritually, systematically, especially with the welfare housing, because black women and women in general, black women couldn't have their men in their homes in order to receive those benefits. But there was a lot of cases where there's a lot of black marriages who've been couples that have been married 30, 40, 50 years. And I know some of those personally. My aunt uncle been married 38 years. My other aunt uncle 30 something else years. My parents almost 30 years. So, this is what I grown up around. Now, her generation, she's got to be maybe 15 years older than me. So, especially with her generation, I don't see how she wasn't able to bag that. Unfortunately, due to some of her characteristics, and yes, due to some of the brainwashing and some of those same systematic issues, we do run into some complications in regard to committed relationships, especially if you're a heavy set, dark skinned woman. You know what I'm saying? That's not really well proportionate. If you're obese or and such, and that's not always the case either. There's a plenty of obese women who have been married for hella years. You know what I mean? But there are certain attributes that men associate with success. And for example, this whole swirling situation, which she has totally fallen into. But what I couldn't appreciate is her giving this blanket statement. I mean, hell, we even had examples on television. Martin and Gina, the Cosbys, fucking, who else? Nigga, Family Matters, Fresh Prince. All these TV shows that had these dynamics. So we can't sit up here and say that all black men. We're not going to say all black men. Now, we're going to delve into these white boys. Let me tell you something. I dated white boys at one point, but not in an emotional aspect due to financial gain. That's being completely honest, right? And I found, especially white collar men, because those was the type of white boys I was fucking with. Doctors, lawyers, and shit like that. Those was the kind of white boys I was fucking with. And what I found was they were more of the fuckheads. They're the fuckheads who set these standards, this European ideology that most men fall into. Okay, so we're not going to act like they're not setting the standard in the country that we live in, especially if you're these successful men with the money that you're talking about. I experienced more of what she was talking about that in the clip with white men when I was going to galas and shit like that. I was told in the ride in the car on the way there, don't be talking, don't be this, don't be that, look like this, talk like that, act like that. When I went with a gala with the Q dogs, they was like, "What's up? Do whatever. We getting it cracking. Woo 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 woo." So these are men from the same caliber who have different expectations of their woman. So, and those are just those two examples. But there's many examples, but the one that she was pointing out in this clip, my personal experiences, I see that more dealing with white men. And that's just me personally, especially Spanish men. Spanish men don't play that fucking game. They're very traditional in that sense, I will call it, because I'm not going to give it all these feminist names. I'm not with no feminist movement at all. You know what I'm saying? So just on the strength of how it dismantled our family dynamic. Now I think that if she would have started from there, talking about how the feminist movement dismantled the black family, I could have rolled with her narrative, but her using the welfare reform as part of her narrative is absolutely incorrect. Is it part of it? Yes, but it was wrong for the narrative. If she wanted to use that narrative, then she should have started with the feminist movement because our issues wasn't the same as white bitches' issues. Flat out. It's just what it was. We had to be a little bit more unified. Now, I'm not going to be blind to the facts that, yes, we do have those situations within our community. However, we weren't in a position where, um, we had the freedom to fight that. We had to stick together. We had to stick through things. So for her to blanket everything, I think the issues that she's discussing more or less affects my generation and the generation after me a little bit more. And I think that's why they're trying to push this swirling propaganda onto us, trying to deem our black men in a certain light to brainwash us into thinking that there's more interracial relationships than there is black couples, which that is incorrect. There is more married black couples than what they put out in as far as the information. More black people are marrying each other and staying together. So, we're not gonna, we're not gonna go with that false narrative. We're not gonna go with false information. The fact of the matter is, more black people today are getting married and staying married. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the people are going against the swirling narrative or propaganda that's being pushed on us. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to breed us out. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how I feel. I'm not for the swirling action and I'm not necessarily against it. It just isn't for me. I just, for myself, um, find it hard to take white men seriously. And there always gets to this point where um, politically we just don't agree, spiritually we just don't agree, and just there's a certain level of understanding that I demand, um that they just don't get it. I mean, period. They just don't get it unless they just for the shits and with the shits and really get it. But even then, I mean, I wouldn't want to jump the broom with no white dude. That's just me, And I'm looking at her like, I mean, real talk, just like you got that white dude because niggas wasn't fucking with you. So I don't know how else not to say it. Like, you're not on the caliber of bitch that niggas on the level that you talking about is gonna be fucking with you. Like, period. Like, you could look at certain bitches and tell if they niggas is getting money or not. You could just tell by the way she carries herself. You feel what I'm saying? So, and that's facts. You know what I'm saying? So it really isn't like for what if she just said men have an issue with monogamy, I would have understood that. Because that's very true. They're fucking dogs for the most part. Any new pussy that's ready to part them coochie lips, they gonna jump in that motherfucker for the most part. They may feel bad, they may love you still, but niggas is gonna fuck. Niggas is gonna look, niggas is gonna try, niggas is gonna cheat. And when I say niggas, I'm using it as for all men, Spanish, white, Asian, whatever. All the motherfuckers cheat. I am in the personal belief that nobody is faithful like that. There's no men that's faithful like that. From my personal experiences in life, there's no man that's faithful. I mean, it just is what it is. Now, what a woman could honestly ask for, and I think she will get more of an honest commitment, is if she requests that respect level. Now, here's my thing. I know niggas is gonna cheat and shit like that. That's my mindset. But if this nigga is bringing this bitch in my face, texting this bitch all day, hella loose, bringing the bitch in the house, spending money on this bitch, doing all this extra emotional shit that he supposed to be doing with me, that's immediate grounds for termination, right? But if I'm dealing with some sort of medical issue, I'm working all the time, this, and that, this nigga get lonely, he want to bust one real quick. I could see that too. I could see that. You know what I'm saying? I could see that as being the case because a lot of the times that is the case. Maybe she's pregnant, dealing with some sort of condition, dealing with something that keeps her from, ready to throw it in a circle. And so men seek outside gratification. Okay. So I think that's just what it is, especially for married couples. Is it okay? Am I condoning it? No. But I think this is a reality based point of view. Your nigga gonna cheat on you at some point. Now, is this nigga gonna blow it up in your face? Or does he love and respect you enough to keep that shit where the fuck it belongs? The fuck away from you. Because if you messing up my picture of what the relationship is, then that means you don't give a fuck about me, you don't respect me, or none of that. I think it's very unrealistic for a woman to think that you're the only pussy he's going to be jumping in forever and ever and ever and ever. Like that sounds crazy as fuck. I'm just sorry, it just does. I think the way women are designed, we're designed differently. Unless you're just one of them bitches that need a different cock all the time. So now that's getting a little graphic or whatever, but that's just my mindset, and I think it's very real. But so instead of running around, that nigga cheated on me, you need to look at the dynamic of what the fuck you're really dealing with. See, I done had a nigga been in a relationship where, I was always gone, but we knew what time it was. You know, um, I ain't gonna get into that. That's another video. But bringing it back to Lonnie Love, I just don't think you was up to fucking par for the motherfuckers that you wanted. And I'm not necessarily sure if he's fetishizing you or not. Tends to be what I think immediately in an interracial relationship. It's a fetish, it's a desire, it's a sexual conquest of sorts on both sides for men and women. That's what I think of swirling in interracial relationships. It's hard for me to look deeper into it sometimes, depending on what type of interracial relationship it is, especially a black and specifically white relationship. Now, if any kind of brown mixture, my mind kind of understands that because we have to face similar oppressions. But when it's that specific dynamic in America, it's hard for my mind to compute that outside of a fetish first. Now, maybe there was some love that built from there, but initially, I think it's a fetish. Um, and my opinion may sound harsh, but I just don't think she was up to par for the type of niggas that she wanted. And not that she had to settle. I just feel from my experience that some white men kind of think that black women are like these fat chicks anyway. And like, you know what I mean? It sounds so, I can't verbalize what I'm saying, but I don't think it's like, for where she is in the entertainment industry, like not like she's some A-list celebrity. She's like D or E-list, right? And for where she is and her appearance and the type of black dudes that she's around, I mean, honestly, I don't think they're going to be checking for her like that. She would have to either go outside of the entertainment industry in order to seek her. If she was intentionally looking to date a black man, I think she would have had to go outside of her industry and take some of those things, because another thing that we do is these high ass expectations when you're not up to fucking par for the kind of nigga that you're fucking with. You can't be sitting up here talking about you want your nigga to be driving some Benz and this and that, but you're not a Benz and BMW type bitch. Like, how a nigga gonna pick you up in a BMW and bitch you're not up to par? That, I mean, it just don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, how are you expecting to be showcased in a particular manner with a particular man, and you're not that particular type bitch to fit that mold and criteria? And I've been in all of those realms. You know what I'm saying? And mind you, I was maybe 60 pounds lighter. So, yeah, bitch, you got to be up to fucking par. If you're trying to be taken out to these five-star restaurants and meeting the chef and all the shit that a bitch like me was doing, you better be up to par, bitch. Or a nigga ain't taking you nowhere. And if he is, he ain't up to par all like that anyway. I mean, those are just facts. People are vain. And people in certain positions are looking for a particular type of woman that looks a certain kind of way due to um the culture of that environment. Like like the lung doctor I was fucking with for a minute. Me and my partner, we shared that nigga, right? Boom. If you're not, he wouldn't pick me today over me 10 years ago. He would be like, I want your partner. I mean, I know that about myself because he wants that hot little thing that he could showcase around. Because those type of men in the white corporate America are fuckheads. And I've been around them long enough to know this. And that's where she is in the entertainment industry. They're not fucking with you like that, Lonnie. So you had to go and fuck around with a white dude that's not even all that ill himself. And he loves you for you. And that's a wonderful thing. But don't go attacking black men with your fucked up narrative because you're not up to par for the actual black men that you want to date. Like for the men that I want to date, the men that I used to attract, I know that I need to be up to fucking par. That's why I was attracting those type of men. I was number one making that kind of money. Number two, I was living that type of lifestyle, not necessarily in all points of the lifestyle during that time. However, I carried myself in a manner that was like up there. You know what I'm saying? And I was in places that was around those kind of men. You know, I was in those zip codes. I was in those areas. I was rubbing shoulders. You know what I'm saying? I was getting my coffee and shit. You know what I'm saying? And I had that kind of money where I was carrying myself that kind of way because that's what I was around. You know what I'm saying? And when you're up there and, and I was fit and I was bikini ready, so I could go from dinner to the beach like that. So if you're not on deck like that, then they're not going to fuck with you. And that is a real fucking fact of life. Like, it is what it is. If you're in that, then that's how you're going to have to be. I mean, you ain't got to be the illest bitch, but at least you got to be bikini ready at the bare minimums. You know what I'm saying? For what it is that what she's talking about. And I think when we start becoming a little bit more honest with ourselves, then we could address the issue in a real way. Because not every balling ass dude is gonna want that. Now there is some exceptions to the rule, but we're not gonna pretend like that's the majority. We're here on this channel, we ain't playing them kind of games. So let's just keep it all the way funky. You know what I'm saying? So some people get mad at that truth, and some can see it for exactly what it is. And I'm one of those who see it for what it is. Lonnie, you wasn't up to fucking par. And even if you was up to par, hell, Halle Berry and Beyonce both got cheated on, and they're the baddest bitches. You know what I'm saying? I personally think Gabrielle Union smashes on both of them, and so does Rihanna. But they're the air quote baddest bitches in the game, but yet they both got cheated on. So, case in point, it's a all across the board thing. There's no certain class or certain amount of money a bitch could have in her bank that's gonna keep her nigga from being faithful. I mean, period. It's just what it is. Every bitch on every level is gonna get cheated on at some point, and especially if your nigga is rich. You know how many fine ass, bad ass bitches is throwing their coochie at Jay-Z? Like, get the fuck out of here with that stupid shit. There's bitches throwing their coochie at Lonnie Love's nigga or white boy. So fuck out of here. Like, so on every level, you are susceptible to getting cheated on. Now, I would just suggest a bitch set some boundaries. If you're stepping out, we don't do it raw. No raw, no babies, no diseases, no money, and no bringing the bitch into the house. And I should not ever, never, ever know about this bitch unless you just don't want to fuck with me. Boom, boom, pow. Problem solved. And that goes for all races of female. So those are just my little thoughts on Lonnie Love. Lonnie, you need to do better. Don't let that white boy gas you up and get you roasted, bitch. I was gonna read you a little bit, but I think I gathered you enough to where you gotta do better. Don't let that white boy gas you up, girl. I don't really like that show any motherfucking way. Y'all all sound lame as fuck. And Adrian, ain't you a home wrecking ass bitch? But anyway, and oh yeah, Jeannie, I don't see it for her and Jeezy. I just don't. I wish she would have messed with a black girl, but she ain't white, so I'm okay. But anyway, that's just what I think. Peace, love, and hair grease. I'll check you on the next one. If you watch to the end, you're the illest. And please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time when I'll be prepping some food and showing you how I get my smoothies together. And we're going to make a little bit